Hello, and welcome to the Future Proof Podcast. This is our periodic podcast where we chat about the stuff we've been working on and anything cool we're planning. I'm Gregory Avery Weir.
And I'm Melissa Avery Weir, and we have been doing some fun technical stuff.
Yeah, so last episode, we mentioned that we were looking into basically fixing our storefront and tax collection problem on Exploit Zero Day. We, for various reasons, in selling the season story there, we wanted to move away from a system where kind of we were calculating tax ourselves or kind of going to a third party to calculate it, but we were taking the user's information, passing it on to someone else to calculate tax. They were keeping track of a bunch of stuff. It was a complicated and expensive, in the end, system. Yeah. And so we switched to doing a merchant of record style thing where essentially someone's running a storefront for us. They get a fair cut and also handle all the tax stuff and all of that, so we don't have to worry about anything but sort of the lump amount and not handle the sales tax stuff.
Yeah.
So we switched to Paddle is the one that we picked out. And we've done that programming switch over. It's not yet deployed.
As of recording.
Yeah. Actually, it might be out by the time.
I hope so.
By the time this episode, barring any problems, it should be. And it was nice process. It was slick. They have a cool API for like a JavaScript front end thing that'll pop up a good looking storefront thing, and then back end just API that you can hit various ways to say, hey, let me just double check. Did the customer successfully get this payment through? Cool. Okay, great. Let's unlock the stuff for them. So yeah, and it went well, and it was really, really nice to be able to rip out a bunch of old stuff because we were supporting our tax service and PayPal and a different payment method.
Stripe,
Yeah, and being able to just take all of that out and just kind of let someone else handle it, and all we basically do is say, hey, show the customer a payment screen.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I don't remember what our research process was all those years ago. I know that these services existed because I know two of them that have existed that long and that I've used with nonprofits. I wish things had been such that we had not spent the last several years dealing with this sales tax situation. Yeah. It is very stressful to check the PO box knowing that states will be looking for us to, have filings about sales tax of $0 or whatever.
Yeah. And I bet back then the API support wasn't as great. So, it would have been probably more complicated for us to sell. We don't have a download or anything, right? Yeah. For Exploit Zero Day, you're just kind of unlocking a thing on your account.
Yeah. And that was a limiting factor. Yeah.
Yeah. And those were the early days of microtransactions online and that sort of thing.
Right. A lot of them were geared towards mobile, and I will say, not gonna call any specific company out, but the one that still uses SOAP for its API connection did back then too.
Well, that's probably why they still use it. Old technology.
Yep. Good, nice and stable.
So we have been switching who we get our digital stuff from in various ways. You set up our replacement for Bitly, right?
I have. Bitly is a long-time sus-ass company that does URL shortening. They're kind of the industry standard. They had a very generous free offering. They allowed us to do QR codes, which we have done extensively for when we've done conferences, and we give out Exploit Zero Day access codes. That we would do QR codes, and it was very fun. But they have continued to sort of shrink their free offering, and they're a pretty, I don't know, anti-privacy company. So I don't feel bad about kind of going, all right, well, we're squeezed out without having to pay. So I had set up a service. It's an open source platform called, I hate this name, but I'm going to say it into a mic because I'm an adult. Schlink.
It's short link, right?
It's short
is
link,
where they
yes.
get that, but
yeah. Schlink. So I stood that up on a box that's, you know, got backups and all that sort of nice stuff that you do when you run a service for production. And it looks pretty smooth, and the API was nice, so I was like, hey, this seems like a viable alternative for us, because we have, not only do we have, like, links that go in newsletters, but we also have ways for, if you are playing systems or clusters in Exploit Zero Day, you can, if you want to share either that system or your solution to the system, things like that, you can do so, and we give you a short link for it, because who needs a long-ass URL for that sort of thing? And so we have all these kind of components that we're talking and integrated with Bitly. And so, yeah, we've done a switch. That's another thing that will be live by the time this podcast comes out. Testing has gone very smoothly on that. So
and that's exciting. One that presumably, like, no one will be able to tell the difference.
That's the hope.
All the old links will continue to work, etc.
All the old links will continue to work. Users' data won't be going anywhere. It's just going to be our system. We're not selling any data. We do very minimal tracking to say, like, oh, you came from, someone got to this Exploit Zero Day system from a shared link, but not really anything beyond that. So it'll be nice to sort of just have a solid platform there. And I say that, assuming it works and has like 100% uptime and all that good stuff. Well.
We'll deal with that if a problem shows up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other stuff. They're coming up probably before our next episode will be almost certainly summer sales. Steam has announced that its summer sale is at the end of June and the start of July, and that is going to be both of our games that are on Steam. And we don't have any information about this, but itch.io tends to have sales around the same time as Steam sales, so chances are good that we'll be part of a store-wide sale there too.
Yeah.
And you can pay attention to our social media for information on other sales that we're in storefronts other than those.
Yep. And speaking of social media, we mentioned it in January, in our January episode, but we want to just say plainly here, outside of the ramblings of the footer of a podcast, that we are not on Twitter anymore. We have an account there still, but we are not posting there, I think, at all. So
yeah, we're just essentially keeping some crypto company from getting the account, and that's about it.
Yeah, so if you want to get news about when we're on sale, when we're doing streams, which I did my first stream back in quite a while this past weekend.
Went great.
It was a delight. I was so fucking nervous, but I had a lot of fun.
You should tell them what you told me about 30 seconds after you stopped playing.
Okay.
So this is the new Wadjet game.
Yes, Wadjet Eye's game, Old Skies. Yep. It is a time travel point-and-click adventure. Wadjet Eye games are outstanding. They are, that is a studio, one person, but, cast of, I'm sure he does
bunch of people work on each game.
Yeah, that has only gotten better. Every game that they've released has been better than the last, and I adored their previous releases. So I was super excited to play it. And I play the first 2.5 hours, and it's on stream, right? So it's a little slower. I'm taking some breaks. I'm listening to all the audio and all this sort of stuff in ways that you don't necessarily do when you're playing solo. And it was in the very linear opening stretch where it's like, here's a puzzle, you have to solve it before you move forward. There's no branching, there's no real choice happening. So it was, I would say, relatively boring compared to what I suspect the game is going to open up to, just kind of from the trailer. Y'all, I stopped playing. You go into a bar, you're trying to find this guy, and I was like, okay, this is clearly going to be one more set of conversations. Whatever, I'll end the stream here. It's not a spoiler to say.
Yeah, because this game has time travel.
This game has time travel. The moment you initiate the one conversation you can usefully initiate in that bar, a scene pops off in which you get murdered. It would have been like the most like interesting, like twisty thing to happen in the stream. And I just like, I picked it up, the next night or whatever on my own. And I was like, son of a bitch. So that was fun. But yeah, we'll be back on schedule. You know, I've already got my next game picked. So we post our schedule up on Future Proof Games. We have a streams page there where we list our next stream. And then, of course, the social media places. Those eventually get archived over on YouTube. So, yeah, not on Twitter. Follow us elsewhere.
Yep. You can always find our stuff at futureproofgames.com. We own that, so we don't need to worry about switching services there. We have an account on Blue Sky as futureproofgames.com, on Mastodon as fpg@mastodon.gamedev.place, and then, like Lisa mentioned, we've got our YouTube channel, which just search for Future Proof Games, and you'll get all of those archived streams. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our blog or on social media. And our theme music is Juparo by Broke for Free, which is used with permission. Talk to you next time.